Alrighty, it is 1 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining. My name is Johnny Freeman. I'm Pozotron's Senior Customer Support Manager, and here today to walk you through the basics of using Pozotron Studio. So today I'll be covering the essential features and techniques that you can use to hopefully make your audiobook or audio productions faster, more efficient, and hopefully save you some time. And if this is your first look at Positron, this is a great place to be because we will be covering the whole process start to finish. If you do have any questions as we go through this is a live webinar and I love to answer your questions live. So please don't hesitate to ask them. Only request is that you put them in the Q&A box, which you can open up in Zoom at the bottom of your screen. Should have a button to open that up. That alerts me when there's a question waiting to be answered, and we'll answer them live as we go through. So thanks again for joining, and we'll get right into it. So what we'll be talking about today is the entire process, start to finish, of creating a project in Positron. Then we'll go into the pre-production prep tools that you can use to help yourself prepare for a project by looking up pronunciations and researching characters. After that, we'll go into the proofing tool and I'll show you how to export or how to proof efficiently, and then the particular exports you'll need to actually correct any pickups found. Last, we'll go through the final check, which is the audio analysis tool, which you can use on your mastered files. And then I'll end off with a couple of best practices, how to get in touch with us, how to get additional help, and some other tricks. And at the end, if there are any questions, we will answer them, but feel free to ask your questions as we go through this, and I'll answer them as they come up. And with that, we'll get into it. So creating your project, really the only thing that you need when creating a project is to upload the manuscript. That is the most important part. So walk you through that here. Once you get logged in to Positron, you'll be brought here to the My Projects page where you can see any projects that you've already created. And to get started, you'll click this Create New Project button here. And the only required field is actually a title. So you can create a title. You don't have to upload your manuscript right away. I recommend that you generally do, but you'll want to give it a title. You can add additional details like a customer if you want to organize your projects in that way. Also, storing your projects in a folder. Very much recommend doing this once you have a lot of projects in Positron. It can get a little cluttered on the My Projects page here, and your folders will be listed right above this button here. And to add a new folder, you can just click the three-dot menu, create new folder, and that will allow you to store your projects more efficiently. Next, you'll want to upload your manuscript. So that can be a PDF, EPUB, text, or Word document. And you can just drag and drop the manuscript in here. Recommend uploading the entire script at once. Don't split it up into chapters or sections. Positron will automatically match your audio files to the correct portion of the script in the next step. And it's designed to work with the entire manuscript, so that'll work a lot better for you. And those are really the basic things you need. You can add, there's a lot of customization you can actually do when creating a project, such as adding project details like an ID number. You can set due dates for your project. You can assign different statuses and update them as you go through the project. If you're working in a collaboration, this can be quite helpful to see the state of a project. Enter any notes you'd like about a project. This is all optional, but can be useful for organizational purposes. The sensitivity options, I would recommend leaving on normal when you first get started with Positron, because this influences how many or how strict Positron is when suggesting corrections to you. Once you've used it for a little while, you can tell it to relax and not flag so many things, or you can actually make it more sensitive if you'd like Positron to be even more strict with the proofing algorithm. Same goes for the noise detection. You're able to influence the sensitivity. Again, I would leave it on normal until you kind of see how Positron reacts to your voice and your projects. And then maybe in future projects, you'll want to change the sensitivities there. And it looks like we have a question from Michael. Should we crop out the section headings and page numbers when adding a PDF? That is up to you. Positron by default will ignore page numbers and headers throughout the script, so any repetitive header Positron will ignore. They can still cause issues if there is a problem with the PDF. So if you want to be safe, you can crop those out, but it's up to you in that case. Positron should ignore those by itself. But that's a great question. It actually leads into the manuscript processing options. So some PDFs are marked up particular ways, and these options let you tell Positron how you want it to react to certain manuscript prepping annotations in the script. Things like removing any crossed out text in your script or adding comments. If you have PDF comments in there, you can actually add those comments into the manuscript. This is a little bit more advanced, but if you are marking up your PDFs in an in-depth way, we do have tutorials on this as well. So if that is relevant to your workflow, check it out. But I will move on from there because the basic things, you just want to upload your script and that will create a project. So you can actually, oh, it looks like we have another question from James. My latest author sent me a Word doc and is using a picture as sub-chapter separations. Does Positron filter them out or should I remove them before uploading the manuscript? That's a great question. So Positron will ignore images in your script. When you upload them as part of processing it, it will remove the images. However, if there is actual text in the image, it may recognize that text and expect you to say whatever is in the image, which can cause some issues. So it depends, but you shouldn't have to remove images if they're just plain images. But if you run into any issues with that, let me know, James. Happy to help you out. Great. So moving on to actually use our tools, you'll click on a project, and that will bring you to the project page. You'll automatically be brought to the proofing tool first, but all of our production tools are listed on the left-hand side here. And the prep tools include the pronunciation, the characters tab, and the scan occurrences tool. These are additional tools. And I'll start off with the pronunciation guide. This is a really powerful tool, can speed up the research phase quite a lot because Positron is integrated with these online dictionaries. So by using the pronunciation guide, you have access to Oxford US, Oxford GB, Forvo, Merriam-Webster, and the Pronounceology database. And you can use these to research words that Positron will actually pull out of your script. You'll see this open suggestions button. And this is once you upload your script to Positron, it's going to analyze every single word throughout your entire script and put together a list of all of the capitalized rare, complex, and foreign words that exist in the manuscript, and it puts them together here. So if you have a question on any word, you just click this Add to Research List button, and that is going to pull it over to your research list and automatically populate a phonetic spelling and recorded pronunciation for the word.
Antipathy.
And it's pulling this straight from Merriam-Webster. Whatever dictionary you select up here will be the first place that it checks. If you'd like to see what it found in all of the other dictionaries, you can click this cloud button here to get alternate pronunciations. Excuse me, which is a really great way to compare different pronunciations and also get different dialects or examples.
Antipathy.
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 Antipathies.
So there's a lot of different examples here, and if you like one more than the rest, just click this plus button, and let's say I needed the British pronunciation, that will update the word
Antipathy.
to include that pronunciation. So you have a lot of resources here, and the workflow is to generally filter through this list, adding words that you want to research and ignoring words that you don't need pronunciations for. And yeah, that way you end up with a relevant pronunciation key. Now, you do have the option to research all words on the list here. And this was added after some requests because some books you might have 300 words here if you're doing a fantasy book and there's an elvish language or a sci-fi planet and an alien race or something. There might be a lot of words that Pozotron pulls onto this list. You are able to research them all at once, but it might also include some words you don't need. So you might have a little bit less of a tailored list. It's up to you how you want to go about it. Using the research all button, this can only be done once and it can't really be reversed without resetting the project. But it's very helpful because it can research the entire list. You'll see if you leave the page and click up here on this little hourglass, this shows you what active actions Pozotron is taking. It takes a little while for it to go through all of the words on the list because it's checking with all those different dictionaries, but it'll tell you when it's done in this hourglass here. And if I return to pronunciation guide, we'll see all of these words have now been added to the list. And this spinning bar means it's still actively researching the word. But you'll see by adding all of my words, I've gotten some in here that I probably don't need on my pronunciation list. So the two ways we see people using this tool is to go through each one in the suggestions list and make a very curated list, or they add them all and then afterwards come into this page and cancel the research on any words that they don't need on their list. So really up to you how you'd like to do that. Not only the suggestions list can add words to your project, but you can also add any word you'd like. So up at the top here, there is a field to add any custom word, and I can enter Johnny, and that will add it to the list. When there's a lot of words on the list, it's very useful to also use the search bar. You'll see it's been added to the list, found the pronunciation, and it's currently searching my manuscript to update the count and the page number that these words appear on. So you can add any word you'd like here. You can also import entire lists of words. So again, depending on your workflow, if you tend to read through the manuscript and make your own list of words first, you can then import up to 200 words at a time in this import word list, just one word per line. So just thinking of random words here, you can add them all in like this, hit save, and that will add them all to your project. It'll actually research them as well. Question from Michael. I do a lot of nonfiction with French and other languages. Could you briefly discuss how Pause treats foreign words? Yeah, that's a great question because these are English dictionaries. What I would recommend for any foreign words or for any words you need a specific dialect for, if you need an Irish pronunciation or British or some old British, Oxford GB is pretty good. But Forvo actually has the option to choose a language. You can also choose an accent within that language. So if I choose English here, I can then have Forvo look for a New Zealand accent or Canadian, and it will tailor its results to only look for that particular kind of pronunciation. But really, what I would recommend if you need foreign words, I wouldn't choose a specific language because that can actually sometimes it's not cataloged correctly on Forvo's website. So it's actually better to leave it on any and use this cloud button here. So if I have a word like agua, and let me also show you if I have this selected on Merriam-Webster, I'll add this word and we'll see this comes back with no phonetics. So it wasn't found in Merriam-Webster. But if I click the cloud button here, you'll see there are a lot of pronunciations found in Spanish, Portuguese, lots of Spanish and Portuguese. I actually don't know what SW stands for.
Agua.
But
Agua.
you'll have a lot of different examples. And Forvo is going to be your best bet for foreign pronunciations, as well as any like non-dictionary word, maybe some fantasy words that are standard in the fantasy world but wouldn't probably be in Oxford. That'll be helpful. Another thing you can use are the links on the right-hand side here. So these are additional resources, One Look, Youglish, and How'd You Say. These actually have some language parameters on it as well. So if I needed to look this word up in Youglish, it's finding it under English because agua is a very common word, but you can see you can actually change the language or dialect. Maybe not the language, actually. Maybe just the dialect. I thought you could change. Oh, yeah, right here. So this is where you can also choose different languages in Youglish, which is a very good pronunciation resource. Essentially searches YouTube transcripts and finds a video where someone's saying that word and brings you right to that point. So lots of different ways you can go about it using Pozotron. And what we've tried to do is just put all those resources in one place for you, so you don't need to jump around the internet looking for it. For any made up words, let me add Woth. This is a character from a book that I like, and he has a very interesting name spelled Kavoth, but oh, and I've actually used this as an example previously, but it's pronounced Quoth. And to edit any word and record your own pronunciation, you can click this microphone button. That will allow you to record, and I'm just going to clear this out. So you can record, you can also upload audio here if your author is sending you MP3s for their character names or made up names. Do that here. Quoth, quoth. And you can enter any phonetic spelling in here. You can also add a note or a URL. And this is a good example. Quoth is actually clearly not a dictionary word, but this is another area where Youglish is very helpful because this is a known character in a known series, and this would actually show me a video where that name is being said. So I could get my reference here and then update the entry in Pozotron. All right, trying to see if I forgot anything. Those are the basics of how to use the pronunciation guide. Yeah, once you have this list, there are a number of ways to share it as well. I will say if you, especially with pronunciations, if you need somebody else's help, like to collaborate and help you with the made up words from their book, you can always share a project with anyone using the share button here. You can see I've already added author at author.com in case I needed the author to come in to record pronunciations or approve pronunciations. You can always do that. So collaboration is definitely meant to be used here. You can add comments to words. How does this sound? To collaborate inside a Pozotron. And you can also assign a user that you've shared the project with to particular words. So if I have a author that I've shared in this window here, and Claire, I see go back on that. This is the share window here. So to invite a new participant, you just click this button here, add their email address, and then give them a role here. And each of our roles can be explained in there's a support article here that tells you what permissions it gives them. Excuse me, but we've tried to name them intuitively as well. So if you have an author, you should be able to just assign them the author permissions. That'll give them access to the prep tools, but not your unfinished recordings. So they can help with the prep and things like that. Hit done, they'll get an email to join the project. And then they'll be able to come in here and you'll actually be able to assign them using this little person icon here. I can assign author at author.com and we can see they've been assigned. And an extra trick, you can also filter this list to view only the words assigned to me. So if I have this assigned to me filter set up, and I just copy the URL and I send this to the author, they won't need to know how to get here or what settings to do. They'll just be brought to this page and they'll only see the words that you've assigned to them. So it makes it really easy for them to jump in and just help with what they need without doing a whole Positron course. And a question from Denise, do they have to have a Positron account in order to collaborate? Yes, they do. That's a good question. They will not be charged anything. It's completely free. But to protect your data, your audio files, and your manuscripts, nobody can access those that don't have a Positron account and haven't been explicitly shared the project. So to keep your data secure, we do require them to sign up, but they don't need to have an active subscription or pay anything for that service. But that is a good question. All right. I think that's good on the pronunciation guide. If there are any questions about it, particular use case, just let me know. But I will move on to the character guide unless I missed something. Let's take a look. Nope, that's it. Okay, good. So we'll move on to the character guide, which is another prep tool. Works very similarly to the pronunciation guide. It's going to give you a suggestions list, but this time looking for different characters that are mentioned in the book. And the count feature is a lot more useful, I think, for the character guide, because what this allows me to do is see all the different names and potential characters that Positron found. You can hover over them to see where they're mentioned and how they're referred to, up to 5 instances just here. But by clicking the count button, I'll actually be able to see every occurrence of this character throughout the entire book. So here I can see this is a very short script, but if this was a long script, I'd have a lot of occurrences of this character, and this will tell me the page number and give me the sentence that they're referred to in to give you a quick snapshot of the character. And by adding a character to my character guide, I'm going to add Sherlock. I'll also add Watson here. And I've researched these characters previously, so you'll see they come in pre-filled. But let me just add myself as an example to show you something blank here. This tool is made to give you a place to put all of the character information. So you can upload a photo for a reference if you'd like. I believe the origination of this feature was a narrator wanted to upload just a picture of Matthew McConaughey, as that was the image he needed to tell him how to do the tone and how exactly he wanted to do the character. You can upload a photo there, the character description, so their personality traits and anything about the character you can put in here. Voice notes are how they are supposed to sound or how you intend to perform the character, so you can write a description like this. And lastly, you can record voice samples. So you can record as many voice samples as you'd like. You can even upload audio, or later on, I'll show you how to actually grab character dialogue from your audio files and update your character voices guide on the fly. But this is really helpful as a repository just to help you keep track of all of the different characters. It'll also store their pronunciation here for the name.
Sherlock,
So you can record the pronunciation and the voice recordings as well. One other thing on the character guide, this tool is an auto research feature. The AI tag will appear on some of the characters that Positron has not only found their name and what pages they appear on, but it's also grabbed some descriptions that it's found about the character. So these AI tags, if you add them to your character guide and they have that tag, they will come in pre-filled with some information. So in this case, Gatsby was identified as a male and is described as having an urgent, matter of fact, or distant tone. So Positron will try and help you with a starting place for researching a character. And then you can confirm this as well by looking at the count here and see how they're described, because this is exactly where Positron's getting that information. Alrighty. I think that's everything. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Good. That's the character voices guide. And once you've done your prep, including the pronunciation guide and the character research, there is a tool, the export marked script tool, which can take all of the data that you've just put into Positron and give you a head start with marking up your script. And it looks like we have a question from Denise. Can you share character voices with the author too? Yes, absolutely. So that's a good question. So there's two ways that are most commonly used to share this information. So first off, you can share again down here, and this shares the entire project with whoever you add here. So they're able to access everything based on their permissions, but they'll be able to log in and come in your character guide just like this, and it'll look the same. They'll be able to change things and they have full access to the project. If you don't want that and you just want to share this and maybe get some feedback, but you don't want them to see everything or be able to edit things or delete things, you can use this share online packet button here, which is the easiest way to share. So I can share the character guide here. This will give you a URL that you can send to anyone. They don't need to have a Pozotron account or anything like that. When they go to that URL, they'll see a read-only version of your character guide. So they see all the notes here. They can access the voice recordings,
Watson, what do you make of it?
and they can access the pronunciations, but they can't change anything. So this is a great way to just share it with them. And you would have to do the same with the pronunciation guide. You can share an online packet for this as well. And this looks the same, just with all the pronunciations. Got a search bar, and they can access the recordings and phonetic spellings, but they cannot change anything. There are a ton of other ways to share as well. We've really made a lot of sharing options, but so you can also export to Excel, or you can export to a pronunciation packet, which is really helpful if you want an offline version of this, so you don't need a URL. This will download MP3s for every word on your pronunciation guide and save them in a zipped folder, so you can actually save these recordings down to your computer. And same with the character guide. The character guide, you can download all of the voice samples, pronunciations, like descriptions, and all of that. You can take that and download it as well. Yes, very helpful for series. And another feature that's very helpful for if you're working on a series is under this import export button, the transfer research tool. Transfer research was made for series, and this allows you to transfer the all of the data in one project to another one in Pozotron. And so if let's say this is book one that I've just prepped, I have all my pronunciations and characters, I can then move them to book two once I upload that script to Pozotron. And not only will it take everything and move it over, but it'll also hide any words or characters that don't appear in the second book. So you might have 1,000 words on your first pronunciation guide and only 200 of them get moved to the second book just because they're not said in the book. So it can help you keep what's relevant in front of you for the next project. Lastly, since we're just going through all the import export options here, you can save these characters to your account. So if you want to take them out of a project and just have a running list of every character that you've prepped in Positron and all of your voice recordings, you can add these to the CG. And this is the character guide connected to your account, which you can access under your dashboard up here. Go to the character guide, you'll actually see all the characters that you've saved to your account across any project, including all the voice samples, and you can actually see what projects they're used in. But this is a nice way to just keep track of every voice you've ever done, and you can always access them very easily. All right, let's go back to the project. I think I did get sidetracked when trying to show the marked script feature here. So this is a really useful script prep tool as well, and makes it easy to reuse the information you've just worked hard for in the character guide and pronunciation guide. So what this will do is download a copy of your script. See that here? But it'll also mark up any words on your pronunciation guide or any character on your character guide. You can see certain words here are highlighted in yellow, and that means they are on your pronunciation guide. So if I hover over that, I'll actually see the phonetic spelling and have a link to the recording. And in Chrome, this works differently on each PDF reader that you're using, but In Chrome, you just hover over it to see the comment. If you have another PDF reader, it'll show up on the side or something like that. You'll actually be able to access all this information in comments straight inside your script. So very helpful for those who like to mark up their script. You can get a head start and have all of the voice notes and character descriptions straight in your script. Um, Michael, oh my God, this would have saved me a week's work on my last job. Oh, I'm glad we're talking about it today, and I'm glad I didn't forget about it. So, and Claire, does that work in iAnnotate? It does work in iAnnotate. I do believe the comments, I remember something about it. I know it works in iAnnotate, but the comments, you might need to turn on a setting or something to make the comments show up. I'm not incredibly familiar with iAnnotate, but I know a lot of our users use that. And if you open this up in there and you have any issues, just let us know, Claire, and we'll make sure it's sorted. But as far as we know, it works in every PDF reader. Really, no one's complained about any of the ones they've used it on. So as long as it supports comments, if it doesn't have any comment support, then these might not pop up, but the highlights will be put in there. Great. Thanks for confirming that, Claire. That's awesome. Okay, good. So that's it for the prep tools, pronunciation and characters, the export mark script. That can be very helpful. So give them a try. And if you have any questions, let us know. The proofing tool is next, if I haven't skipped over something. Good. So the proofing interface, that's what we'll get into next. The proofing tool is very helpful. To use it, the first thing you'll want to do is drop your audio files in here. They can be MP3, FLAC, or WAV format. The only limitation is one file can't have a duration longer than 2 hours or 120 minutes. So if you have longer files, just split them up into chapters or at the max 2-hour chunks. Pozotron will then process the audio files. You'll see a spinning bar, and Pozotron will tell you what step of processing it's on. When it's done, you'll see this number here. And this is the amount of potential mistakes that our algorithm has detected. And to look at those in detail, clicking the proof button will open up that chapter and show you the script. So this is the proofing interface. It has the script in the center, and it's also been synchronized to your audio. So you can click anywhere in the text and then press the space bar or click up here to play it.
Our audio proofing tool is designed to catch the key mistakes your narrator may make during narration, including...
So I'll pause it there, but it's very easy to follow along with the audio. It'll highlight each word as it goes. And then you'll see the annotations Positron's made are underlined in red, and they're also all listed on the left-hand side of your screen here. So the red underline just shows you something is happening there, and on the left you'll actually see the details of what Positron detected and the timestamp. So let's take a listen to a couple of these, and I'll show you how it works.
Including words accidentally added into the script by the narrator.
So here the narrator says the word accidentally, which is not written in the script. So Positron has flagged this as a word inserted. And now we call these annotations because Positron doesn't tell you what is a pickup or what isn't. All it does is detect deviations, essentially, and you tell Positron if it is okay and can be ignored. You tell it if it's a typo or if it is a pickup. So that's what these buttons are for, to actually tell Positron, yes, this is a pickup. And once we go through this chapter, I'll show you how marking these as pickups can really save you time in actually correcting them. So it'll catch any added words that are not written in the script. It'll also show you any missing words.
Words missed from the script. Of course, it will find...
So here, these words were not said by the narrator, so it's flagged these as words missing, and I'll mark that as a pickup.
Of course, it will find misperceptions and misspoken words.
Misperceptions should be mispronunciations, mark it as a pickup. And any pronunciations, it's actually a good time to tell you about the filter out button. So pronunciations, Positron is very accurate with standard standard words. But again, made up words or proper nouns, or if there's a word that has multiple acceptable pronunciations like schedule and schedule or shaman and shaman, I don't know, words like that, you can use this filter out button for because Pozotron will flag if we use quoth, for example, that I used in the character guide. If that's a proper noun and Pozotron is expecting you to say kavath, and every time you say quoth, it marks it. And since he's a main character, there's going to be hundreds of false annotations there. You can use the filter out button to tell Pozotron to ignore this suggestion throughout the entire project. So it's kind of the add to dictionary button in spell check. So you can always filter out. Lastly, it will catch pauses or noises in your audio files.
Pauses longer than 2 seconds. Noises, including audio distortions.
So a little clipping here, which has detected it as clipping. For pauses, it will tell you the length of the pause here as well, so you can really see if it's too long or too short. The filter out button can be used on pauses if the 2-second threshold is different than what you need. You can find an acceptable pause, let's say 2.4 seconds is fine. I could use the filter out button to make 2.4 the new threshold for pause detection in this project. So a couple of tricks there. And yeah, that's the general workflow. You're going to go through marking each of these annotations as pickup or OK. And I'll mark the rest of these. When we return to the project here, we'll see all have been checked, and there are 4 pickups marked that need to be corrected. So I will show you the exports, but first I am going to show you another workflow because there's 2 ways people tend to use Pozotron's proofing tool. First off, you can listen through to everything in Pozotron. You can also make your own notes. So let's say there's a section here that you listen to that you want to redo. You can just click and highlight it and create a pickup, even if Pozotron didn't suggest it. So I could take this section and say, add more emotion, or change the pacing, or whatever I'd like to correct there. So you can go through making your own pickups and do a full listen through in Pozotron. If you're going to do a full listen through afterward, once the pickups have been corrected, you can also use Pozotron to do what we call speed mode. And I'm just going to delete this. And this allows you to quickly jump between the different suggestions Pozotron's made. So if I have an annotation selected on the left-hand side here, you'll see this yellow border, which means it is selected. And this enables you to use our hotkeys. So these are shortcuts on your keyboard that can really speed up the proofing process. So a couple of them that are important are A on your keyboard will mark something as OK, and D will mark something as a pickup. Then spacebar will play and pause the audio. So you can access all of these with your left hand. And with this selected, I can press A, and you'll see it marked it as OK, and it instantly jumped to the next one. So now if I hit play,
Give him this mark of their appreciation.
I can see that's OK, so I'm going to press A, and you'll see it scrolls to the next annotation here. So if I hit play again,
Hospital in order to start a practice for himself.
so there's a pickup. We'll press D to mark it as a pickup. And you don't even have to pause it. You can just let it roll and press A and D as you listen. So I'll do that now.
Holmes leaned back into his settee and blew little.
There's a
I took
pickup.
down the medical dictionary and turned up the name.
There's a pickup.
Restless as the antennae of an insect.
That's
Strongly.
okay.
Then had you better not consult him.
There's a pickup.
Assistance.
And that's okay. So once you get used to it, you can fly through and do a quick check of anything Pozotron's suggested there. And that we call speed mode. Let's see if there's anything I forgot on the proofing tool. So we've got the filter out, manual pickups, and speed mode. One thing I did mention earlier that can be very helpful for ensuring your prep actually really helps you during the proofing phase. You can access the prep tools through the proofing interface using the script sync tool up here. So if I turn on highlight pronunciations and highlight characters, You'll see, like the export marked script feature, it highlights certain words. Characters are blue and words are in yellow. And what's nice about this is I can access the details about Sherlock while I'm proofing this. So we have some dialogue by Sherlock here.
Reassuring. Watson, what do you make of it?
So that's Sherlock's voice. I can also click Sherlock and listen to the recorded voice sample,
Watson, what do you make of it?
which is funny because it's the same sentence. And the way I got this sentence into Sherlock's character is to use ScriptSync the other way and actually grab the audio from our proofing interface and put it in our prep. For example, this is Watson.
How did you know what I was doing? I believe you have eyes in the back of your head.
So I can actually select this line of dialogue by Watson, and I'm going to create an audio snippet. This allows me to select a character and add a voice sample to Watson. So now this is saved in my character guide, and I can reference that dialogue at any point. And when I click Watson now, I'll actually see that voice sample is there. So I can refer to that and make sure the character voice is being used throughout the whole book or the whole series. Question from Denise. Can you allocate your own hotkeys? You cannot. However, if you have any requests, let us know. That's how most of these have come about. So if you have any particular hotkey or feature you'd like to have a hotkey, let us know. And yeah, happy to pass that along. Okay, we are getting close to the top of the hour, so I will show you the export options next. There's a few options once you have your pickups marked that can really help you actually fix the pickups. So under import export, very first thing that I'll show you is the pickup packet. This is an automatic report that's going to show you every one of your pickups split up by chapter, and you can access them here. It'll have the context, the timestamp, the original audio, and the actual annotation all in the pickup packet. So a lot of our narrators, a lot of people use this for referencing their pickups, and then to speed up actually recording them, they export DAW markers. DAW markers are extremely helpful, probably one of the biggest time savers. And what it allows you to do is choose what DAW that you're working in. So I'm working in Audacity, so I'll select that and export it. And this will download a folder. Twisted Wait for the win. Yeah, I've heard good things. Now the folder will contain both of or any files of mine that have pickups on them. It will give me a marker file for. So if I open up Audacity and I open up one of my projects, I will go to recent files here. Let's open up the Sherlock Holmes chapter. And then when you do this, you do need to extract them. So make sure you extract them because they are compressed. And we can exit out of that. We can then import that label or the marker file into our session. And this is going to show me exactly where my pickups are, my 4 pickups are in this file. So using this in combination with the pickup packet, I usually have this go up like this, and we'll put these side by side. I can access the line that I need to reread, and I know where it goes in my session. So I can save a lot of time instead of hunting around for different timestamps. The other reports that you might need are the proofing report. This downloads the same information in your pickup packet, just in Excel format. And then there is a typo report. If you actually marked things as typos, this will include all of the details, and they're also in Excel. Alrighty. So audio analysis. Audio analysis is the final check that you can use on your mastered files. So once you have corrected all your pickups and you've actually mastered the audio files and you're about to ship them off, you can first upload those to the audio analysis tool. It's totally free to use. And you can check it against any of our default distributor specifications. You can also create your own. But with ACX selected, I can press Show Analysis. which will then tell me if my files pass or fail their requirements. And you can also inspect every individual requirement here and see what exactly needs to be corrected, top and tail duration, RMS, noise floor. It gives you the expected value as well as the actual value. So you know what needs to be corrected in the files. Question from Michael, typos in the OG manuscript. Yes, so when you're proofing, let's say there is a typo, this word, let's just take this word, creatures is misspelled in some way. Positron is very literal, so it will expect you to say whatever is written there. So if they misspelled the word, it would actually expect you to say crotchers or whatever, however it was spelled. It would expect you to say that. So that's why you might get these flagged. And in that case, you would want to mark it as a typo. So that would ignore it and it would also put it on its own list that you could then send to the author. Yeah, and thanks for the questions. Alrighty, so that is the basic workflow of how to use Positron on a whole project using our prep tools, using our proofing, and then actually correcting the pickups using our exports. So a couple of best practices that I wanted to show you at the end were this subscriptions page. This is a brand new page. So when you are logged in and you have a subscription, or if you're on your free trial, you can still access this. But the subscription page is really helpful for managing your plan with Positron. So our subscriptions, you're never locked into any of them, and we actually encourage you to change your plan based on your workload month to month. And the subscription page makes it really easy for you to do so. This is a demo account, so it doesn't actually show me a plan here, but let me pull up this screenshot here because this is how it'll look if you are on a plan. You'll see what plan you're on. You'll also see how much audio you've uploaded to Positron in this current billing period. And Positron doesn't bill you until the end of your billing period. You're actually able to change your plan before your billing period ends if you have gone over your expected amount of audio. So from here, you'd be able to see, okay, I've uploaded 12 hours and I'm on the professional 4 plan. Let's see what 12 hours will cost me and what plan I should be on. We can see on professional 4, it would cost 136, and on the professional 12 plan, it would be 120. So you can actually subscribe to that plan at any point to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. What I would recommend is paying attention to your billing date because that is the same day every single month. If you sign up today, it would be on the 30th, and you can come in here to see how much audio you've uploaded and make sure you're on the right plan each month. Hopefully that makes sense. If you do have any questions about how to choose the right subscription plan or how to know if you're on the right one, let us know, and we're always happy to move you and help you choose. And if you do have questions, that's the second thing, is how to get in touch with us. There is a help button here on every page in Positron. Request support is the easiest way to get in touch with us. That comes straight to us, and we'll get back to you very quickly. So any question you have, if you have a particular project you're running into something on, you can choose that here. Tell us what issue you're having, and the more information you provide, the better. But don't hesitate to contact us here. If you'd like to do your own research, you can also check out our tutorials and help center from this help bar as well. And your question might be answered in there as well. Question from Jessica. I have authors who are hesitant about me uploading their manuscript into an AI-powered tool. How does Positron protect their work and our voices from being misused? That is a great question, Jessica. So a couple layers to that. First off, Positron, a part of our terms of service, and maybe I should actually just pull it up. Part of our terms of service, and if you do have questions on this, we do have an in-depth article here on how Positron uses AI, if we use your data to train anything, and what that entails. But a part of our terms of service specifically says that your data will not be shared with any third parties, and it will not be used to train any generative AI in terms of voice cloning, or AI likenesses. Positron does not use data for that purpose, and we also cannot share your data. So The only thing we use your data for is to make our proofing tool more accurate. When you upload audio to Pozotron, it will teach our algorithm to be more accurate and better match voices to text. But that is the only purpose there. Another thing that's important is that our AI was built completely in-house. We don't use ChatGPT, we don't use Claude or anything else. So we're not sharing your data with any of these other AI algorithms. But this does answer most questions that I would recommend sending this to your author because this answers pretty much all of the questions that might concern someone on how their data might be used. But we are open to discuss that with you as well. If you have any questions, happy to meet with you or your author to answer any questions. Yeah, that's a great question though. Very important. And with that, I think we are at the end. Yeah, already showed you how to get in touch with us and submit support tickets. So don't be shy. I do most of the support. So if you have any questions at all, if you'd like to set up a demo or a call, we're always available. And usually I have Adam on with me. So that was a lot of talking. Adam's our CEO and usually is on the webinars, but he's on a much deserved vacation. Oh, thanks everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm glad it was helpful. Hopefully you learned something. And Jessica, to answer your question, yes, this will be recorded and we will send it to you as soon as it's processed and available on YouTube. It'll be on our YouTube channel, but we'll also send out an email with access to it. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions, Michael. And with that, I will let you go. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. And that is all. All right. Take care. Bye bye.